one of the things that gets asked about the most when we have the open garden event, we always set up a tent here on the top of the driveway, and people kind of check in that spot, and they immediately see this ginger, which at that time is about 8 feet tall, okay? And we got, Ram gave us one of these gingers, and 3 different ones, you're saying? Okay, so Ram gave us 3 different ones, and Bobby Green, who introduced this actual magnolia, I can't believe I didn't even think about that before I started shooting this. The Serendipity magnolia is his, and a bunch of the camellias that are in the garden are Bobby Green's introductions. But while we were in Bobby's garden in Fairhope, Alabama, he was like, I want to give you some of this ginger. And he dug a piece up. We had it in a plastic bag. It didn't have roots on it. I mean, I just dug up some pieces here, and you can see how big of a chunk, I've got here. The piece that he dug up was like 2 5-foot tall pieces with hardly any roots on them whatsoever. Came home and planted them, and they have taken over this spot. It's marginally hardy here, and so in order to insulate the ground, to make sure that because the tubers are up pretty close to the top of the ground, so once they own a spot like this, I doubt we could ever have them killed completely back. We probably will never get a temperature that would do that again. But initially, certainly, I want them protected. So we let, basically, all the foliage becomes mush and lays down on top of them and kind of protects them through the winter. It's not the most attractive thing, but it's pretty much a guarantee on that plant protecting itself. So then I come in here, cut off, it's kind of mushy at this point, but we cut them off, cleared the space out. Now it's starting to, we get a few 70-degree days here, it'll start to try to pop out of the ground. You see that red new growth already coming from that. And it had, some of these spreading things in the garden ultimately take more space than we want them to take. And so I have the Serendipity magnolia here. And last year we had this ginger sitting right here. And so I've just dug a piece of it out right here. It's going to spread back in there, but that's okay. I'll just dig some. There's basically free material every year that we can give away. And so partly what I'm doing right this minute is dividing some things up and getting them in pots that will be giveaway items for the open garden event. So the tickets are over on the website if you're interested in coming to our open garden event that we do. We have lots of giveaways. We're gonna have lots more than we've ever had. We've got people have reached out in various ways to want to participate in the event, and we're gonna have lots more plants than we've ever had. So there's a good likelihood if you're coming to the open garden that you're gonna walk away with something. If you're driving, obviously if you're flying, you may not be able to take something home, but we've already divided several of the perennials up. I'm gonna jump in and divide a couple more in this video, but this was me. Once this ginger's anchored like it is, that took some significant effort from, for me to get those pieces out. I can sometimes make it look a little effortless, but I am putting something into it to try to get these broken out of here. All you really need is a piece of that tuber, of that ginger, and that should be good enough. I think we've passed the coldest. It'll be okay if it's 25, 28 degrees, something like that going forward. But I think we're past the teens and the low, and so that's why I'm going ahead and cleaning this up. Kind of what we're doing all over the garden is getting it cleaned up and ready for mulch and other things. But if you're interested, some of the ginger will be available. I don't know what these are. I dug out 5, they may be mixed. I have no idea. There's 4 different ones that we've been given that occupy this space. Again, they're 8 feet tall in June. They haven't flowered yet, right? When people are here, they look like corn. It looks like corn when people are here, and in about July is when they start to actually open flowers and are extremely showy over here. When we started this project, there was a big maple in front of the house. You can go back. There's a playlist on the channel called New House, and you can go back to the very first video where I walked around and showed everything, how it originally was, the siding on the house, and the front porch. You can see everything. Before the shed was back there, before the new screen porch went in, all kinds of, you can see, again, how it was originally. That maple was here. This area of the garden was very shady, and that went away. And there was variegated Solomon seal here, which has still managed to adapt quite well to the sun, really. I mean, it doesn't look probably as crispy late summer as it would, but it's done okay. This But there was a retaining wall here. And with something like this variegated Solomon seal, which can get to running, same thing as that ginger over there, you need a kind of a contained space for it in between sidewalks or something like that, some in between walks or bricks, or, you know, that way, if you don't ever want to do any maintenance on it, otherwise it can run in the garden. Well, I took this wall, there was a wall that went around this bed originally that matched the house. It was painted green, just like the house was. And I took that out to make this bed bigger, and now this is able to run up in the bed just a bit. And we've got another variegated Solomon seal on the other side of the garden, and this one will be kept in some way, but it'll probably be just in a very contained area over here on the corner. And we're reducing the size of it a bit. This is another thing that'll be available. It's a great garden plant. But I am warning you that if you put it in some part shade area that stays kind of a little bit, has moisture available to it, because it's in that low spot right here where the water off the roof and everything is making it there. It's got access to water underneath the brick driveway. You give it that kind of spot where it's not sitting in water, but it's got moisture, it can really get to running. And it's when it's asleep in the wintertime, you don't even know it's happening. It goes to sleep in one spot, wakes up in another over here. So digging some of it out, again, it's gonna go in containers, and it'll be given away during the open garden event. That maple, and I can't stress this enough, you can't dig out here and not find roots, but they're finally kind of broken down some. This material now it's finally kind of semi-rotted. It's 6 years, right? 6 years since this thing came down, and it just is where I can kind of break it easier. Going to be a retaining wall going around here. I'd hope to get to that this spring before the open garden event, and I still do. It's still on my list. I'm hoping to get to that. So that's part of this too, digging this out. But there you go.
And you should let them know that we did not take the maple down because you don't like them. It just died. Well,
it was in a very stressed situation. They don't like these urban environments necessarily, and this is a pretty small front garden space. I think sometimes this wide angle lens distorts it a little bit. When people come and show up, they're like, it's prettier than it is on the camera, and it's smaller than it is on the camera. Those are two things that we get the feedback while people are here. This is a pretty small front garden. Those roots had run as far out as they could. So once they reach the house, once they reach the front curb, once they reach the driveway, and they can't go any further, the plant really becomes quite stressed. And you can see it on the one at our neighbor's house over here. It's so dormant right now, so you can't tell anything from it. But if you could see this thing when it's leafed out during the season, number one, Duke Energy cuts one side of it off because there's power lines in front of it. And then the other thing is it's always got, almost every year, some big giant dead limb on it where you can clearly see it's under some sort of stress. I think it's just root confinement that it really doesn't like. This is Helianthus occidentalis. It was another species at one point. This one goes by Western sunflower, and that's the most useless name you could give anything. I mean, if you call something Mexican sunflower, or Western sunflower, Eastern sunflower, there's probably 6 other things somebody called something similar to that, and that leads to a lot of confusion. When we're talking about asters, the aster family, the Asteraceae in general, everybody wants to call, every fall blooming thing in the Asteraceae is called an aster. It's not necessarily helpful to have a common name of a plant family that has 30 or something like 34,000 genera in it, or something like that. 34,000 species, sorry, not genera. It's not helpful at all to have common names for them necessarily. So, but anyway, this is Helianthus occidentalis. This one gets to getting, same as the other things we're digging out here a little bit. So as soon as we see it popping up out of the ground out here by the road, we want this blooming. When people are here, it'll be 3 to 5 feet tall, just depending on whatever. And it'll be in full flower, and pollinators absolutely love it. But again, it gets to getting, so we can see it popping up further out than we want to keep it. It's pretty easy while the ground is moist. Here in February, or maybe all the way up into early April probably. It's pretty easy to dig right now because we've finally gotten a little bit of rain. And so it just allows me to dig up chunks of it. Again, they're gonna go in containers, and this will be part of the open garden giveaway. If you're following along with the channel, I think last Saturday you will have seen a video from Cam2 Nursery, and we brought back a couple of camellias from that trip that we'll be getting in the ground in the next couple of weeks. These came out of a greenhouse, and so I think it's kind of important to let you know that because I got these out of a greenhouse and I can see where they're budding up and new growth is coming on them already, I'm going to be a little more cautious with these. So our average last frost date's April 15th here. I may put them in the ground by March 15th, something like that. But if I put these in the ground right now and it drops to 20 degrees or something, I'm going to lose all this new growth that has started on this Camellia sasanqua. So we'll talk more about these when they go in the ground. They were part of that Cam 2 video from the other day. But if you're buying things that are coming out of greenhouses or obviously are ahead of plants that are in your garden already, if you're buying them, feel free to buy them, but know they may have come from the Gulf Coast or the West Coast or some other place in the country and they've got new growth on them. I'm probably not going to put that in the ground until closer to my frost-free date. So by keeping them mobile, I can bring them up on the porch or bring them into the kitchen or whatever overnight if it's going to be extremely cold. I just don't want to lose this new growth that they've already put on by being in a greenhouse. We've got some red bee balm in this area and it does fantastic, except for this oak back here behind us is starting to, initially when we started this project, had someone go up there and limb it up higher, got some additional light back here, but the tree is growing and it's managed to get limbs out here further, and so we're losing a little bit of light back here now. So we're losing, I would say where it was, 5 years ago it was full sun from here forward. Now it's full sun from maybe here forward or maybe even a little more. So we're just losing a little bit of light. Thinned the perennials out here a little bit more last year. They were thinner just because of that. But this bee balm doesn't mind growing in part shade and gets to getting it. So it's a great native perennial. This is just a straight red bee balm. And oh my gosh, it was so colorful last year when folks were here. But it is on its way. And it can go over to the native garden. We wouldn't have any problem moving it over to the native garden. And that's probably what we'll do, is keep a few pieces, move it over there. And over there, we can just let it run into some other perennials. All sun over there. We'll keep it compact and keep it in better shape than it will right here. But again, it's run all up in, it's now was planted up there. In 2 years, it's moved all the way back to here. And so I'm just digging up chunks of it. You can do this straight red species bee balm from seed if you wanted to at your house. Of course, if you get a plant like this that's already established like this and already has the runners and everything on it, it'll take a couple years off the process of developing a patch of it for sure. But nothing will draw hummingbirds to the garden quite like this. All the native bees and everything as well, but really this one is all these bright red native flowers are definitely, but see that chunk right there? We'll put that in a container, and there's another chunk of it right there. We'll probably end up with 20 containers of it or something like that that we'll give out during the open garden event. In terms of timing on digging these things out, I'm generally, I'm calling this Jim's weekly garden plan, these Friday videos of things we're doing in the garden. I probably will be doing them a little earlier than I would normally maybe do them. I don't know, it doesn't probably matter. Once I start to see the growth on them, when I dig them up, they're now more vulnerable to the roots freezing on them, right? So if I'm digging them up and it's still February and I'm putting them in a container and storing them somewhere, I need to make sure the pots don't freeze solid, because they weren't vulnerable to that before I dug them up. So I'm probably a hair earlier than I normally would be, but I want to do this while the soil's workable. It's really easy to dig right now. And I want to do it before they're up this much, because that's going to be more of a stressful event. I'm trying to do it right as they're emerging. I would do the same thing with hosta and pretty much anything out here. Right when it starts to emerge, probably the best time to go find it and divide it. You can also do this in the fall as they're fading too, and get them back in the ground at that time. But the red bee balm will be part of the giveaways as well. I do have one thing I'm going to cut back in this video, and then we'll wrap this up. Got several other things we're going to have divided. Well, we already divided some solidago. Anything else that salvias we've already divided. So lots of other things have already been done off camera that are in containers already. That'll be part of that The St. John's wort, the Brigadoon St. John's wort, this is zone 6 to 8 or 9 or something. Typically in our zone 8A garden, it hardly goes dormant at all. It'll be off colored a little bit, but it doesn't go this dormant normally. We actually had a real winter that really knocked it back. But I can already see, doesn't take many warm days here. It's, you know, 70 today. I can already see down here at the ground, and Steph is showing you over there, I think maybe where it's already starting to color back up, the parts that didn't die back, and it's also breaking ground already down at the bottom. So all I do on this is go through and clean it up. If it stays looking good through the winter, you don't have to do this. But if it's off color, off like this, what it'll give me a chance to do here is cut it to the ground like this, and then bring a rake over here and also rake out a few of these leaves. We leave the leaves in the garden. Don't necessarily want them right over the top of my perennial patches like this and ground cover patches, because it can cause a little bit of damage to them potentially, just keeping them too wet. Also allowing slugs and snails and things like that to hide right in your, right in something they might want to eat. But this is pretty straightforward. It's amazing how little work this actually is this time. Normally this is still up and has some growth on it, and when I'm cutting it back, but this year, boy, it almost all died back to the ground on its own. Hadn't stunted, hadn't missed a beat. This is one of the most talked about plants when people are here. This is bright yellow. Oh yeah, and I could have brought the mower over here and just mowed it. That would have taken care of both the leaves and the plant at the same time. But with a patch this big, when they start moving, this is what I'm looking for this time of year. It's moved all the way over to here. This is not where I want it. We planted it over here, trying to keep it full right in there. It wraps around a Japanese maple. We typically have some annual color here. When people are here, there's alliums coming up right now, right there. Didn't plant it here. Don't want it there. So that's a spot that I'll probably grab the shovel, dig up a few, and then that'll be part of the giveaways as well for the open garden event. So I'll include that at that time. So there's some of the things we have going on in the garden right now. It's mainly just getting a couple of bully perennials that can, while they're asleep during the winter, find a way to get bigger when they come back the following spring, reining those in a little bit, digging them up, making them available to share. Sharing is part of the garden. And look, that spot of ginger over there, we remember where we got it. You know, I did a consultation with someone the other day, and they had gotten a magnolia here as one of the giveaways last year, Stellar Ruby Magnolia, and they wanted to show it to me in the garden. They'll know where they got that Stellar Ruby Magnolia from. And we know that from various things that we have in this garden. Who showed it to us first, who gave it to us, who shared it with us in some way. And so I'm over here about that ginger, talking about Ram's garden, memories of visiting Bobby and Fairhope, that kind of thing. And so that's kind of the fun of this, and that's one of the reasons we're digging things up to give away for that open garden event. So thank you guys so much for following along. And again, these Friday videos are just going to continue to be what we're doing in the garden on a week-to-week basis. Thanks for watching.